Good evening, everybody. Once again, this is the UFC 169 post-fight recap with Senator Thunderheart. And tonight, man, what a way to kick off the month of February. Not only that, but what a way to also kick off the Super Bowl weekend. And so, yes, even though tonight's fights were great, I know that there are people out there that are looking forward to the Super Bowl tomorrow, so that's good on them. Now, of course, I'm not going to be watching the Super Bowl. I haven't watched football in years, so my suggestion is don't you guys ask me anything about which team I want to win or whatever the case may be, because I really don't care. All I want to do now is just report about the fights, so don't bother asking me about the teams or about the Super Bowl tomorrow, as far as all that is concerned. So, in the event, now that I got that out of the way, here we go. Now, in this event right here, for starting with these three fights that I have not seen because it was actually, of course, it was online, and I was not online during the time before, of course, the, what do we call the preliminaries on Fox 1. In any event, Neil Magny versus Gasan Umalatov, and the winner is Neil Magny via unanimous decision. Tony Martin versus Rashid Magomedov, yes, and the winner is Rashid Magomedov via unanimous decision. And Clint Hester versus Andy Ends, and the winner is Clint Hester via unanimous decision. And Iaquinta versus Kevin Lee, and the winner is Iaquinta via unanimous decision. I mean, I didn't necessarily saw. Actually, I saw the first round to a point where he almost defeated Kevin Lee in the first round, but then Kevin Lee in the second round had him basically got him in a lot of trouble, where he finally had him, locked up as far as like in the scissors, in the body scissors, and then was riding upon him. But in the very end, though, it was actually Iaquinta who actually fought back and really hurt him and started really doing some damage. And despite the fact that he was blooded up, but it was Iaquinta who got the unanimous decision victory. So congratulations. And Nick Catone versus Tom Watson, and the winner is Nick Catone via a split decision. It basically was one of those fights that went back and forth. I mean, with both of them just doing what they did. I mean, of course, the only difference that really it was a lot of course they did a lot of strikes. The strike was so even on the ground. I mean, not on the ground, but on the foot. But it seems like Tom Watson was so stiff. I mean, if he would have like loosened up a little bit with his body, he would have got more strikes and more snaps with his punches and kicks. Nick was a little more relaxed, but Tom Watson was just too stiff the way he just moved. And also what really made a difference between Nick and Tom and his victory tonight was also his takedowns. Tom Watson had no takedowns in any of the rounds whatsoever. Nick did. He had, let me see, a couple takedowns in, one takedown in round one, about a couple or up to three of in round two, if I'm not mistaken, and then another one in round three. I mean, that was the difference maker there to have that split decision victory. So congratulations, Nick Catone, on that great victory. It was well deserved. Now, in this next fight here is Chris Cariaso versus Danny Martinez, and the winner is Chris Cariaso via unanimous decision. I mean, basically, it was just mostly so it was one of those dominant performances for the most part from Chris Cariaso. I mean, yes, Danny Martinez, was he did as best as he could, but he was also swinging sloppy. His techniques were not as crisp, and Chris Cariaso was. I mean, Chris Cariaso was a little more experienced too, so that also had a lot to do with it. But what it all boils down to, Chris Cariaso did more than Danny Martinez, and Danny Martinez thought he did more, but he just did sloppy and wasted a lot of energy. So congratulations, and of course the rounds, all three rounds were just the same thing, trying to do, what they were trying. In other words, Danny Martinez trying to do his thing, Chris Cariaso did his thing. So that's basically what it all boils down to. Whether it was striking or it was grappling or whatever, they take some takedowns and things like that. So congratulations, Chris Cariaso. And in this next fight right here was a bit of a grudge match from what I saw in the weigh-ins, as far as Alec Patrick versus John Makdessi. When Alec Patrick in the weigh-ins, I guess, got in the John Makdessi's face, So obviously there was a little bit of personal grudge to it. So it always adds an element to it when there's a personal grudge. But so any event, and of course Alan Patrick was a bit taller than John Makdessi. You would think that he would be able to take a little more advantage. But John Makdessi, also had an advantage for being short and was able to get in and land some good shots to him. While also, of course, Alan Patrick landed some good shots using his legs and using some arms and knocking each other back and different things like that. But at the end of the day, Alan Patrick was the winner via unanimous decision against John Makdessi. So whatever this grudge match they had, obviously Alan Patrick won that. So congratulations. And in this fight, which is actually began the pay-per-view, as former WEC lightweight champion Jamie Varner versus an uppercomer Abel Trujillo. And the winner is Abel Trujillo via a knockout in the very first round, mind you. I mean, basically, no. Actually, it was in the second round. Sorry. Basically, what it all boils down to, it went to the second round, right? Jamie Varner was beating Abel Trujillo. Abel Trujillo, of course, was swinging, good and wild, and he would hit him a little bit, but Jamie Varner really was rocking him, especially in the second round when we honestly thought that because what happened was Abel was real impatient. He needs to get more patience, and it needs to just have better timing with the strikes. That was his problem. Now, he has the power to knock you out. That's not the issue. The issue is to control that power so that when he can get it more accurate, he can accurately knock you out. That's the whole point. Not just swing and knock you out, but accurately knock you out. And he's got that power. He just needs to just discipline it. But guess what? Fortunately for Abel, of course, now we thought that Abel was going to get knocked out because Jamie Varner was really hitting him, and Abel was swinging wildly. It was a wild swing fight. But finally, Jamie Varner was hitting him, and then the guy kept swinging, and then the last good swing, boom, really knocked Jamie Varner out cold. He went flat to the ground like that, and it was over. Abel Trujillo had an excellent victory. Very inexperienced, but that wild swing, he just went for it and knocked people out. And that's just it. I just wish now that we just see more fighters really go for it like that. It just makes it more exciting, and it actually makes the victory even sweeter than normally it is. And so Abel Trujillo, and the funny thing about it was I kind of went for him anyway. I went for the underdog in this fight, and so I'm glad I did. So now Abel Trujillo, congratulations, and very good, excellent victory. Now he's been put on the map. Now people are going to pay more attention to him, and I know I'm paying more attention to him, even though I voted for him to begin with without even knowing much about him. So that just tells you something how special this guy truly is. So watch out for him, guys. Watch out for him. And in his next fight is John Lineker versus Ali Bagautinov. And the winner is Ali Bagautinov via a unanimous decision. I mean, basically what it all boils down to, it was a lot of good striking and kicking and things like that, but it was also some grappling that went on. Even in the first round, it was like a lot of heel hooks that were happening. Lineker had Bagautinov in a heel hook, then Bagautinov turns around, heel hook him too. There's a battle of just grappling and grounding and pounding and just outstriking one another. But actually it was Bagautinov who really got aggressive and sort of really got the most of the hits, got the most of the takedowns, and even submission attempts and things like that. So what it all boils down to, it was all the same win with 3 rounds. People thought, anyways, where I was at, I thought it was pretty good. I didn't even really think, may not be the most exciting, but it was good enough to keep it running. It kept everything rolling. The suspense was good. I mean, it keeps you guessing. They were keeping each other guessing. So it was actually a pretty good fight overall. Now, a lot of people may think, this fight may put you to sleep and all that. Well, if they want to sleep, that's fine. They can go take a nap. Me, I enjoyed the fight. I liked the action. The action with suspense, it gets you guessing, and that's a game. That's what sometimes fighting is a game of chess. Sometimes you want to keep guessing. Sometimes you want to have that suspense. That's what a fan wants sometimes. And so that's what, and then the very good thing was right near the end of the 3rd round, when John Lineker was trying to get Ali in the heel hook again, Ali was standing up. He was all flexing his body. He was all booing him. It was the funniest stuff I've ever seen. That he was just being a showboat while someone tried to leg lock him. It was great. It was great. Oh my goodness. So congratulations, Ali Bagautinov, awesome unanimous decision victory. And in his next fight right here, as the two heavyweights, two former champions, as former UFC heavyweight champion Frank Mir versus former Strikeforce heavyweight champion Alistair Overeem. And the winner is Alistair Overeem via unanimous decision. I mean, what do I say? I mean, these two heavyweights, former champions, Alistair Overeem hasn't done too well for himself. He's had 2 losses. Frank Mir has really not done well for himself, having, I don't know how many losses he's had except for Ricardo and Chicago, but he's had good losses against other guys that were Daniel Cormier and Josh Barnett and Trujillo dos Santos and other heavyweights that were really top. But Alistair Overeem didn't necessarily put on the best performance, but he did get the W. I mean, let's just be honest. Frank Mir did not look very good. He just beat him all up. He carried him everywhere. Even when Frank Mir tried to grapple him to the ground, guess what happened? Alistair went with him and just started grounding and pounding him. He was suffocating him. He was moving him around. He had a good knee to his head, busting him up. I mean, Alistair Overeem basically had his way. Now, why did he not go for the knockout? Maybe he just being cautious because Frank Mir is a jiu-jitsu practitioner, one of the best in the heavyweight division with putting on submissions and really hurt somebody. I mean, he's really broken. He's notorious for breaking arms of such as Tim Silva and Antonio Monteiro Nogueira. The former champion, 2 former champs, he's broken arms. So, I mean, of course, someone like Alistair Overeem would be a little more cautious about that. But in any event, in the very end, though, Alistair Overeem got the W. So we'll see how he does from this point forward, now that he's back on the winning track. So let's see. Anyways, congratulations, Alistair Overeem, on your victory. Now, in this co-main event, the UFC Featherweight Championship was on the line as Featherweight Champion Jose Aldo versus Ricardo Lamas. And the winner, and still the UFC Featherweight Champion Jose Aldo. I mean, let me see, I would say about the first 4.5 rounds or something like that, it was just basically Jose Aldo and Ricardo Lamas was just striking. Just a bunch of striking, but Jose Aldo just got the most of the strikes with, good combinations, leg kicks, but they would just keep measuring each other. And Lamas had some good shots in here and there too, but really, when Jose Aldo fires, he hits, and when he hits hard. The leg kicks really did some damage, but not like he did the other guys. I mean, Ricardo was able to keep going. And also, but then by the 4th round, basically Ricardo had to do something different. He had to do something. He just could not just keep trying to outstrike him because it wasn't working. With throwing wasted motion, spin kicks, spin hook kicks, and it was all good and flashy, but it wasn't getting the job done. So what he had to do, he went and tried to grapple with Jose Aldo and pushed him against the fence, tried to take him down. So that was a different change of pace. He had a little more strikes when he was, clinching with him, but as we was trying to take him down, Jose Aldo was hanging on, not exactly to the fence, but he was just up in the air, defending it, and instead he took him down instead. Meaning Jose Aldo got the takedown and went on top of Lamas and did a little ground and pounding and even tried to do submission attempts, at the same time. But then Ricardo escaped. This was only the 4th round, and then in the 5th round, basically it was kind of like the same thing as the 4th round. Only this time, Jose Aldo was on top of him, but then Ricardo reversed it and got on top of him. And when finally got the advantage when he was on top of the ground upon him, but it was too little too late for Ricardo Lamas, and that's one of the reasons why Jose Aldo is still the champion, unanimous decision, and rightfully so, because the first 4 rounds, really, he won all the first 4 rounds. If there is anything that Lamas won, any round that Lamas may have won was probably the 5th round. And that may just be a guess on this point, That's not necessarily for certain, but either which way, Jose Aldo is still a champion. Congratulations, Jose, on still being the featherweight champion. And this next fight right here is the UFC main event of the UFC Bantamweight Championship fight, as now the undisputed champion Renan Barao went against former WEC Featherweight champion Urijah Faber, and in the second match. So it was actually Renan Barao versus Urijah Faber 2 in this one, and the winner and still the UFC Bantamweight champion is Renan Barao via TKO victory in the first round, mind you. I mean, I thought this fight was actually going to take a little bit longer than the first round. What it all boils down to, they both started, they got going, and then Urijah Faber, and they were trying to throw a little bit of techniques, but then when Urijah Faber tried to throw a technique and he missed and went to the ground, what's his name? Renan Barao just tried to ground upon him, but then Urijah Faber got right back up, good. They were saying, okay, good, you got me there, and then they went at it some more, but then what happened was, here's the thing, Renan Barao took a nice straight punch, hit him right in the square of the nose. Urijah Faber got dazed like bad, and then on top of that, he threw some good, combinations. But then with another good hit that he had with Urijah Faber, he had an overhand right, hit him right to the side of the head. Urijah Faber went wobbly. I mean, he was starting to hit him against the cage and everything, but then he finally recovered and was giving him a little distance, and he finally hit him again, where he finally got hit in the face to a point where he actually went face down to the ground. In other words, he fell flat on his face. And then, of course, that's when Renan Barao started, hammer fisting, and despite the fact that Faber had his left leg, and he was covered up like this, he was not intelligently defending himself at all. And I mean, what was Herb Dean, the referee, was supposed to do? Keep it going. And so basically, what happened was and of course he looked at Herb Dean, was like, okay, should I keep going? I'm going to keep going, but are you going to stop this? Because I'm going to keep going. That's why basically Renan Barao was basically looking at Dean and letting her know, look, I'm going to keep going. And so Herb Dean finally stopped the fight and finally pulled him off. Urijah Faber celebrated, danced, and now he is still the Bantamweight champion. Now here's the thing. Now people, and even including some people, including Urijah Faber himself, because Urijah Faber did put the thumbs up after, Herb Dean was already calling the fight, thinking that he was still okay. He said he grabbed his leg and he defended himself like this. But let's be honest, people. I'm going to ask you this question in a minute, but let's be honest. Renan Barao really gives some nice shots. He hurt Urijah Faber really bad. He was wobbling, he was crashing, and this is not, it wasn't like he just did it once. It was like to a point where he would kept on falling, and then when he finally hit him with another left to his face, he went to the floor flat on his face. I've never seen Urijah Faber so vulnerable like that. And then he just hammer fisted him like this to a point where Urijah Faber wasn't defending himself clearly, and the referee stopped the fight. Now, here's the thing. I would have really believed that if Urijah Faber was really, wasn't as hurt as he was, I don't think the referee would have stopped the fight, meaning Herb Dean would have stopped the fight as easily. But since he was already hurt, and the referee already knew that, that's why he stopped it. Now, Urijah Faber had an argument against it, and some people may think Herb Dean stopped the fight. Let me ask you this question, guys. Do you really think that Herb Dean stopped the fight too soon? Or do you think he was justified in stopping the fight like he did? Give me your, go ahead and email me, not email me, go ahead and put your comments down there and see what your answer is. I personally feel that Herb Dean did a great job in stopping the fight because, like I said, if Urijah Faber was more in shape and wasn't as hurt as much, he would not have stopped the fight as easily despite all this. So, Renan Barao, deserving champion, better than Dominic Cruz. Where you're at? Well, let's see. Hopefully, we won't have to see you too much again. Any event, I'm gonna get going. This has been a very fun night, 169, and as like I said, during Super Bowl weekend, I'm just advising everybody from tonight and even tomorrow, partner responsibly, and be safe, and take care, and many blessings to you all. Healing, it is all that is.